We changed it in the middle, but yes, we got our prediction right. So, breaking news, folks. Bangladesh have beaten Afghanistan by a massive margin of 89 runs, chasing 335. They got all out for 245 runs. And this massive margin of 89 runs means that Bangladesh have joined Pakistan and have now officially qualified for the Super Force. Yes, Bangladesh's net run rate has leapfrogged both Sri Lanka and Afghanistan in such a way that they cannot finish in the bottom now. So either of Sri Lanka or Afghanistan will go through, whoever wins on the final Group B match. So Bangladesh have finally done it. They have ended 5 years of pain and have now become the first team, the second team after Pakistan to qualify for the Super Force. Now, what position they will finish in is really going to determine who are they going to play in the schedule. But Afghanistan will be ruining the fact that they got out for 245.
Exactly.
And remember, for Afghanistan to have been safe and potentially seal qualification even despite losing, they needed to get to 279. Now, they did not get to 279, and because of that, Taskin's burst of 4 wickets. Now, Afghanistan are on the brink. If they lose tomorrow, they are out. Simple as that. So, because remember, Sri Lanka versus Bangladesh didn't lose by a big margin. They only lost by 5 wickets. So, that is why their net run rate is such, it's leapfrog Sri Lanka. Now, Sri Lanka, if they beat Afghanistan tomorrow, then they will go into the Super Force. But if Afghanistan beats Sri Lanka by a similar margin, then Sri Lanka could be well on their way out. So maybe for the first time in this Asia Cup, you're going to see your 4 traditional powerhouses in the Super Four. India, Pakistan, Bangladesh and Sri Lanka. This win has totally thrown that into the equation, and that's why Afghanistan will have to rue that fact. What a batting collapse, and why did they allow the Bangladeshis to score 334?
I mean, to be fair, I understand the Bangladesh is scoring 334. They do have some quality in the batting, and it was an absolute dry strip of a wicket. Yep. There was nothing in it for anyone, which actually makes it even more surprising that Afghanistan let the scoreboard pressure get to them to that point and thus collapsed. Because again, even when they had wickets in hand, the equation wasn't that great, because with the likes of Gulbuddin Naib and Mohammad Nabi still at the crease, they needed about 120 odd from, they needed actually about, they needed
close to 10 runs an over.
Exactly, they needed 120 odd from about 60 overs, which means
60
the
balls
required, 60 balls. That means you needed 10 runs an over even at that point. And even then, after that, you still had someone like a Rashid, you had someone like a Karim Jannat who can also whack at the ball a bit. But it was always touch and go, because in the last 10 overs, they'd basically be having to play T20 style cricket. Go bang bang.
And their worst thing was, their main player who could have scored at an aggressive rate, Rahmanullah Gurbaz,
got out very cheaply.
Yeah, he got out for 1 to Shariful. And that dented their progress, because if you look at the partnership that Ibrahim Zadran and Rahmat Shah had, at that time they had just managed to score about 80 runs, but the run rate was just over 4. Just over 4. And that is the reason why, when you already say, suppose, when the second wicket fell, it was 79 for 2 in 18 overs. You were already behind the...
You're already behind the curveball at that point, truth be told, because if you're... the thing with the chase like this is, okay, fine, you know that an ODI is more so than a T20, because of course you have that second power play, then you have a longer middle overs and death overs period, that if you bat conservatively and preserve wickets, you can go for that. But you still, even if you have to bat conservatively, if you're chasing 300 plus, which means a required rate of 6, you need to be batting of at least 5.5 in that regard. Otherwise, well, you're always going to be in trouble. You're leaving yourself too much in the end, and that's exactly what happened. By the time they reached the last 10 overs, which is in essence the death, they needed a 10 over 10 and over. It's
close
just
to 14. Even somebody like Rashid, who has performed miracles, you can't expect him to do that. Remember, they got partnerships going, but they never extended it to a very big partnership, like what Nazmul Hossain Shanto and Mehdi Hassan Miraz did.
Remember, they got a big 200 odd run
215 run partnership. None of the Afghan players could do that because of scoreboard pressure and inexperience. Although, if I may want to add, there was Ibrahim Zadran who did very well, 75 or 74. Then Hasmatullah Shahidi and him shared a good partnership together. But just when Ibrahim Zadran was looking good, he fell.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
with that, when Hasmatullah Shahidi fell about 17 runs later, that's
You knew
about
that
it.
was really at that point Bangladesh had their tail up and they
Yeah.
knew that they could very well have actually gotten a big victory, and that's exactly how it proved.
No, Rashid's aim, I think it was told to him by the Afghanistan management that, okay, don't aim for 335, aim for 279. And you could see the partnership that he was starting to share with Mujib. At that time, he hit a couple of sixes and fours of Taskin and Shariful, if I'm
But he
not
wasn't
mistaken.
going crazy.
Yeah, he wasn't. He was calculating, as he had always done, even in the IPL, in the BBL, you look at it. He's always been a very calculating kind of a batter. And when the equation's there in front of him, you know that he will really go for it. I mean, the exhibition of hitting he did against the Mumbai Indians, I mean, he hit about 9 or 10 sixes, but it ensured that Mumbai Indians' net run rate would still get impacted. Here, he had the chance to ensure that Afghanistan could still hang on, even if they lost. But now the problem is because wickets were not there. Taskin took those 2 wickets. When Mujib fell and when Rashid top-edged it to mid-on, that's it. The game was over, 245. You fell short of that safety barrier by 34 runs. So 279, it meant that what would have happened? Suppose you had gone to 279, 280 and gotten out. What would have happened is Bangladesh would have been out. That was the situation. And because now they have leapfrogged, whatever Afghanistan does, if they thrash Sri Lanka,
This works. Okay. I hope this is okay.
I hope this works, because otherwise then we may have to end the stream pretty shortly, folks. So
It's fine.
It's fine. Okay. So that is the situation that is there. So unfortunate, Afghanistan, they have been eliminated.
Pretty much.
Pretty much eliminated. If they beat Sri Lanka by a big margin, then they can at least topple Sri Lanka. But that looks very
Well, that's very
unlikely.
unlikely. With Afghanistan, I think the problem we always knew was their batting.
Yes.
It's very reliant on 2 or 3 batters, and the rest of the batters, I'm sorry to say, just don't pull their weight. And that's why even today you knew if it was a 240, 250 chase, no, they'd still been in it. But 334 just seemed like a tad bit too much for them.
3.5 batters. That's the problem that you have. 3.5 batters, because the 3 batters which you can rely upon is Rahmanullah Gurbaz. Then you've got Ibrahim Zadran, Hashmatullah Shahidi, and your other half batter is Rashid. Rashid is a very decent bat, but to expect to do him miracles,
All the time. No, this is not going to be possible.
asking way too much. And that's why Pakistan and Bangladesh are your first 2 teams in the Super Fours. Tomorrow, India could very well join them if they beat Nepal. But if Nepal beat India, then it will produce an earthquake on the cricketing scale.
I
which
don't
will
see
be
that happening.
About 10 to 11 on the Richter scale.
I don't see that happening.
Yep.
Should be told, I clearly don't think that that's going to be happening unless
Yep.
there's a weird sort of a, DRS thing in the tail. That's the only way it happens.
But let us...
DLS, sorry.
Yeah, DLS. So that is the situation. Tomorrow we will see our third team, and possibly on the 5th, we'll see Afghanistan or Sri Lanka sealing that spot in the Super Fours. And you'll potentially have all your 4 traditional Asian power weights. India, Pakistan, Sri Lanka, Bangladesh. Exactly what this Asia Cup needs at this point in time. Now, you remember, it's been a very chaotic day. All games from Colombo have been shifted to Palakele.
Exactly.
Likely to be shifted to Palakele. There's also speculation that Dambula could be one of the venues, but that doesn't look like happening. So, Lahore, you look at the trend here. This game, typical, put runs on the board. It becomes slower and lower. Run scoring becomes harder, and that is why Bangladesh effectively have knocked Afghanistan out of contention. But talking about Rashid Khan, I'll take this question from King D. What happened to Rashid Khan? He's not getting wickets lately. I think King D, before Shane jumps in, because he's been following Rashid pretty closely in his bowling career, and he picked him up, that I think players, batters and all nations have realized that, okay, we must attack him and we can also play him out. Just have a look at his variations. In T20s, it becomes a bit difficult, but in ODIs, I think he seems to have been found out.
In ODIs, I think, I don't know, today, other times you see him, he can be effective, especially against nations at a similar level to Afghanistan. But unfortunately, with ODIs, sometimes, as we say, sometimes more often than not, he will tend to, today was just one of those days where he was a bit errant. And I think because Bangladesh batsmen realized that he was not quite getting his lines and lengths right, it was pretty erratic. So they looked to attack him. Once they started attacking him, he kind of got thrown off a little bit. So that was unfortunate. unfortunate. And again, in T20Is, it's much tougher because, you do have the option, or rather you don't have the option because it's only 4 overs.
Yeah.
How much do you look to kind of, play him out? Then you're just boosting his economy significantly, and you will look to attack at some point, which means there'll be a few wickets that fall. Today, unfortunately, he just didn't look like he was on at all.
Yep, and today because the likes of Mohammad Nabi, Mujibur Rahman, sorry, and also Rashid, you look at their combined bowling, 30 overs.
Mujib, by the way, was the only one who looked good.
Nabi also economical.
Yeah, Nabi was economical, but not a wicket threat at all.
Combined, if you look at all of them, their economy rate was close to 6.
Yeah.
And that will prove to be lethal to you on any given day. And remember, spinners in the middle overs, that's one area where every team will have to focus. If they let the game drift away, it will prove to be very, very costly.
Yeah, because it's not like they have like a massive pace battery or anything like that. Because even Fazal Haq
Yep.
can at times be very expensive.
Yes,
He's very inconsistent even now, Fazal Akbar, okay?
They don't really have a proper death bowler if you look at it. Rashid could be that death bowler, but today he was taken
Today
to
was
the
taken
cleaners
to the
by
cleaners. I think and
Shakib and Rahim. All of them took toll on him, and that's why.
It also helps that when in Shakib and Mushfiqur, you also have two players who are very good at tackling spin. So that might not have been as flattering.
Also, left
hand.
right hand. Adjusting the lens to them is a very problematic situation indeed. So, Rashid, I mean, yes, if
And
he
Rashid,
doesn't
truth be
perform.
told, he's more effective against right-handers.
Yeah.
Far more effective against right-handers, which is very,
But,
odd considering
yeah.
he's very much a googly bowler. But I think he prefers bowling it in that line just outside off-stump
Yeah.
right-hander.
And he doesn't get that much of spin. I mean, he doesn't spin the ball by a mile, just very little slight
Subtle
spin.
variations. It's very subtle variations.
But I think if Rashid doesn't perform with the ball, Afghanistan are in massive trouble.
I mean, if I were them, I'd somehow kind of look to find a way to fit Noor in.
Yes.
I mean, I don't think Nabi is doing that much with the bat at this point
Yep.
to justify keeping him around.
Yep.
It's not like their batting is that strong anyway. Why not just go the whole hog and bring in
Yeah.
Noor Ahmed as well?
Why not Noor? I mean, what wrong has he done? Okay, maybe he also runs the risk that perhaps, okay, if I get Noor in, I may get... people will figure me out, and that is why...
But still, I mean, I don't know. He's one of your good in-form players. Truth be told, I think you should very well be looking to bring him in.
Yep.
Gopal Krishnan, again, bringing up that age-old question of, why can't Naveen Ulaq be used to bowl? Naveen, I don't think
Too many
plays
spinners.
ODIs. Yeah, too many spinners. for one. The other thing being that Naveen, I think himself opts out of ODIs.
And also injury issues, Gopal. That's the problem. So, okay, Dex. Why Pakistan stadiums are woeful and outdated? Sena stadiums are relatively much better. Okay, Dex. What was the term that you just used? The Sena stadiums. Sena means South Africa, England, New Zealand, Australia. Now look at where they are when it comes to the revenue, when it comes to the money that is distributed by the ICC, and how many nations tour there frequently. Quite a lot. Especially England, Australia are in the top 3. They are the big 3. New Zealand and South Africa follow after that. Now, Pakistan. You could not play in Pakistan for close to 6-7 years because of all the terrorism incidents that happened from 2009 to 2015. And then if you look at it, teams started coming back slowly. Now remember, Pakistan does not get that much of a revenue sharing also. I mean, if you look at it, it's about, I think, 30 times less than what India gets in the ICC thing. Pakistan's economy themselves, that itself is in a big mess at this time. Now, where will you get the money to upgrade all the stadiums and all? Because remember, to afford a ticket also in Pakistan probably takes a big hole in your pocket, and that is why I think either fans don't come, then you don't have the facilities. Yes, looking at it visually, Pakistan stadiums don't offer you that much of a big boost in your viewing experience. But also remember the money, the situation. Everybody can't have beautiful stadiums like they have in New Zealand or South Africa, Australia or England. I mean, those teams really invest.
In fact, as Raj Dasgupta points out, these are countries that very much would come under the, developed rather than developing.
Developing, and that's the situation. But since then, New Zealand SA cricket is the first choice.
It's
was
not.
no Dex. Totally wrong.
New Zealand and South Africa, in fact, for New Zealand rugby,
And also the South Africans.
South Africa it's rugby and football.
Football,
Cricket is
yes.
not. Cricket is not their first choice sport.
I mean, you should have had a look at the Australia-South Africa broadcast. They were hyping up and
The,
building up
Rugby
not for
World
the
Cup.
ODI World Cup.
The Rugby World
Countdown
Cup.
is there for the Rugby World Cup.
And because it's in South Africa, that means it's what do you call it? Super Sports, if I'm not wrong. What is it?
Yeah. So the official broadcast is a Super Sports.
Not exactly, but then they also have, you're right. That it's not. You're right, but then that's also I mean, they've actually had traditional stadiums of that sort. Whereas in a country like India, let's say, there's a lot of stadiums that keep cropping up.
Yep.
So those traditional stadiums, because they have those few centers, have been well maintained.
Yep.
That's true, particularly for an Australia-England sort of
Yep.
situation.
And in New Zealand, you look at the capacity. Where is the capacity? No stadium has about close to 50,000.
It's a small stadium.
40,000 is the maximum capacity in Auckland, 40 to 50,000. I mean, Dunedin also would have had about 30,000, but they don't play in Dunedin anymore. So that's the problem.
Freaking Awesome makes a good point where he says, so not the first time we're witnessing something like this. Batting collapse is a very big problem for Afghanistan and it's something they need to fix. When they do, they can say, agreed. But they'll fix those batting collapses because they need a stronger middle order. It's not there right now.
They, as I said, they only have 3.5 batters.
Yeah, and I'm not counting Gulbuddin Naib.
Yeah. One problem with Nabi too, Sachin Kashyap was saying, he doesn't use the angles in his bowling.
He's very one-dimensional, sure. Very much a darter.
He's like a David Hussey, if you have to look at it.
Correct. Action also similar.
Similar. But then again, see, you can argue in the case of Mohammad Nabi that maybe off spinners are obsolete indeed in ODI cricket. I mean, his is a classic case, but there is also Moeen Ali to counter that argument.
By the way, that I'll counter your counter argument
With the
with
T20
this T. No, he didn't bowl.
He didn't bowl.
He didn't bowl a single over today.
Wow.
Imagine they bowled 4 overs of Liam Livingstone, who got it for a half century worth of run. Moeen didn't bowl a ball.
Wow.
So really, I think off spinners are very much a dying breed.
Yes, I mean, at the ICC tried to eradicate them in 2014 and all the actions were been called upon. Shane Shillingford, Saeed Ajmal, Kane Williamson. Even Kane Williamson fell foul to his action. I mean, how corny can that be? But ICC, yeah, they did it, and that's why rookie techie is very, very harsh. Justice prevailed. I mean, it's not Sanju related. Afghanistan does not deserve to be in top 4 in Asia. Pakistan team fans doing campaign it was saying Afghanistan bowling is better than SL and Bangladesh.
No, I think bowling, no, but definitely their collection of spinners is very, very enviable. It's just I don't think they're able to supplement that with a good degree of pacers, and their middle order is very, very brittle.
Yeah,
Very brittle.
so maybe, I mean, Rajdas, which match will be played in the Super 4s in Lahore? I think one match, I think it could be
Only one
Pakistan,
match?
Bangladesh. I think it could be Pakistan, Bangladesh, because if Sri Lanka win and they go on top, then that means it could be Pakistan, Bangladesh in Lahore.
Correct.
So maybe we have to check up on the schedule yet. We don't know who are the other 2 teams that will go through.
And there's scheduling chaos even in this edition of the Asia Cup.
I
so-
mean, Pakistan and Bangladesh in Lahore. Yes, SL is always B1.
Correct,
Rookie Techie is saying,
correct,
yeah, that's
yeah.
the right thing. Pakistan and Bangladesh will be in Lahore. B1 is Sri Lanka, and that is why it's going to be a big, big situation. Remember, A1 is Pakistan, A2 is India.
Yeah, because obviously India would not be traveling to Pakistan, no? So because of that, they just
Yeah.
kept it fixed.
Now, Dex is telling me, I think we'll take a last couple of questions and then we
sorry
are
about
done.
that.
Yeah, sorry about that. Australia will have a tough time against full strength South Africa. Dex, I do agree their test is going to come now. Don't read by the T20I whitewashes that have happened because South Africa, I think, were not going with full intensity, and Australia, they wanted to make a statement.
They were
and
definitely
boy,
going by full intensity.
Boy, the likes of Travis Head, Tim David, Mitchell Marsh, Matthew Short, Josh Ingles, all of
Even by the way, with the ball, what's his name? Marcus Steinus was doing some magic with the ball.
magic, and also don't forget there's a new left armer called Spencer Johnson.
Yeah, Spencer Johnson has been doing very well for them.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah, rookie techie, there was a bit of a glitch in the middle. That is why.
Sorry
there is
about that.
Yeah. So one team already confirmed in
Yes,
the Super Fours.
absolutely.
It is Bangladesh, Pakistan. Now tomorrow it's India versus Nepal. We hope that the rain stays away in.
Although not very hopeful, truth be told.
It's not looking
It's
good.
definitely, the rain forecast is pretty heavy for tomorrow. But of course, in Colombo, it's slated to be worse, which is why they ended up moving all those matches potentially to Palakkale.
Yep, so that ends Afghanistan's campaign is virtually over. They'll need a miracle against Sri Lanka. But tomorrow it's India versus Nepal. We will be here in Sports Today to analyze all the things building up for that and also building up to the main World Cup squad preliminary announcement.
Absolutely.
That's going to happen on 5th. We are building up to that as well. So from me and Shane, it's good night. See you tomorrow. Bye-bye.